guys, welcome to my channel. So in this video we'll be making a basic trouser pattern, a straight trouser pattern, and the measurements we'll be needing is our length, our waist, our hip, our crotch length. That's where your trouser is starting from. To you'd ask your clients or whoever you're sewing for to sit, and from the area their trouser will be resting, the trouser waist to the surface of the chair they are sitting on. Then your knee circumference and your hip depth. Yeah, your hip depth is from the measurements from your waist to your hip line. So that's all we'll be needing in this tutorial. Yeah, so we don't need our ankle measurements because we are making a basic trouser. We want to make it is this basic trouser that we are going to alterate when we want to make a pencil trouser, a palazzo trouser, any different kind of trouser, any type of trouser rather. It is this basic trouser that we are going to alterate. So I'm measuring my hip depth now. My hip depth is 8.5 because I'm actually drafting a high waist trouser. You can draft anyone you want, a normal waist trouser or a high waist trouser. So my hip depth is 8.5 and my crotch length is 10. The difference is just 1.5 inches. It depends on your body type. It could be a difference of 2 inches, it could be a difference of 10 inches. So the next measurement I'm measuring now is my hip circumference. My hip circumference divided by 4. My hip is 34 and divided by 4 is 8.5, and I'm going to measure that out and rule a straight line. Then the next measurement is my waist measurement. My waist is 23 and 23 divided by 4 is 5.75 plus 1 inch for my dart allowance, which is, so that would be 6.75. And the next measurement is to get my crotch extension. To get my crotch extension, I'll divide my hip, which is 34, I'll divide it by 20, and 34 divided by 20 gives me 1.7, which is 1.75. So I'm going to extend from this line here, my hip line here, on the crotch line. I'm going to extend 1.75, and on my hip line I'm going to come out by 0.25. Then I'm going to use my curve rule to form a curve. This point must touch this point. So the next thing is our darts. To take out our darts, we divide this into 2. Divide your waist into 2, and you measure. Our dart length should be between 4 inches and 4.5 inches, but for this video I'll be using 4.5. I'll be using 4.5, so I'll measure 4.5. And our dart allowance was 1 inch, so I'll be sharing 0.5 inch at the 2 sides, and I'll connect to my dart leg. So the next thing I'll do now is to divide my crotch. From my crotch extension, I'll divide it into 2, and I'll measure what I have here, which is 5.1, and I'll take the 5.1 inches down so as to get my center for my knee and for my knee measurements. So I'll take the 5.1 inch down to the length of my trouser. So to get my knee line, I'm going to measure from my crotch line to the length of my trouser. not the hem, to the length of my trouser, this place, and I'm going to divide it by 2. I'm going to divide it by 2, and I'm going to mark that point. So from this point I'm going to come up by 1.5 inch, which is now my knee length. So I'm going to measure it. This is 12.25, and I'm going to measure 12. Then the next thing is now to get the measurement of my knee. So my knee is 13.5, so I'll divide 13.5 into 2. 13.5 divided by 2 is 6.75. So I have to share the 6.75 between these two. So 6.75 divided by 2 is 3.3. So I'm going to place that 3.3 on this middle line, and I'm going to measure here, and 6.75 here. So I'm going to do the same thing on my ankle line, my trouser length, because we are making a straight trouser pattern, not a pencil trouser. So I'm going to make a straight row, and from my knee line I'm going to connect to my crotch line. And for this part I'm going to use this pant cuff, and I don't need too much cuff on this line, so I'm just going to use the part that is not so curvy, and I'm going to form a straight line. Yeah. So this is all with the front pattern of our trouser. This is basically all the front pattern of our trouser. Yeah, so for the back pattern, let us pay close attention to this part. If your hip is around 38 upward, you would use 1 inch, but if your hip is around 36 downward, 0.75 is okay. So my hip is 34, so I'll be measuring from this point. I'm measuring inward. I'm measuring 0.75, which is here. And on this part, if the person you are sewing for has a very curvy shape and you want the shape to come out, you can go in by 2.5 on this waistline. You can go in by 2.5, but for me I'll be going in by 2 inches. So anyone, you can go in by anyone you want, 2 inches or 2.5. Then you are going to mark it. We are going to make a straight row and come to this margin that we created. There's a 3 inches margin here and also here, and it is because of the back. So when you are drafting yours, make sure you make a margin there too. I'm sorry, I'm just saying this. So there's something I forgot to do on the front pattern. For your front pattern, you're going to come here. Front pattern, you're going to come down here by 1/2 inch, and you're going to go up here by 1/2 inch also. Yeah, you're going to go up by 1/2 inch. So you're going to connect this to the dart leg. Let's proceed with the back pattern. For the back pattern, we are making use of the red marker. So at this point, we are going to go up by 1.5 inch. If the person you are sewing for has bum, you can go up by 2 inches, but for this pattern 1.5 inch is okay. Then we are going to measure our waist measurement. So our waist is 5.75 plus our dart allowance, that is 6.75, which is here. So we are also going to go up by 1/2 inch because we went up by 1/2 inch here, and by the time we are sewing it, it has to be accurate. So we are going to go up by 1/2 inch here. We are going to extend this hip line and the crotch line, and we are going to measure our hip circumference from here. This circumference for this pattern is 8.5, so 8.5 is here. I measure what I have left on my margin here. I have 2.1 inches, and so I'm going to carry the 2.1 inches here and I'm going to mark. So this is where we are going to connect to our waist. On our knee and our ankle, we are going to come out by 0.5 for the back. We are going to come out by 0.5 inch on both sides, and we are going to connect with a straight row. So at this point we are going to connect like this from our knee to the crotch line. We are going to connect to this point, and we are going to use our curved rule again. Oh, sorry, we've not drafted the crotch. So guys, we are going to draft our crotch extension from this place. You know, for the front we divided our hip by 20, but for the back we'll be dividing our hip by 10. So 34 divided by 10 is 3.4. So I'm going to measure the 3.4. I'll approximate it to 3.5, and I'm going to measure the 3.5 from this point, and this is where my 3.5 ends. And also, you know, we came out here by 0.25. We are still going to do the same here. We're going to come out by 0.25 at this point, and we are going to connect with our curved rule. So this is basically how we get our cut for the back. Then we're going to measure from this place to this place. And at this point we are going to make it a little bit curvy. So after we've done that, the next thing we'll be doing now is our darts. We're going to divide our waist by 2 like we did for the front. We're going to divide it by 2, and our dart for the back should be between 5.5 to 5 inches, 5 inches to 5.5 inches, and it is also going to be slanted. It's not going to be straight because of this part. So guys, this is basically all with our trouser pattern. With this pattern you can make any kind of trouser. You can make a pencil trouser, a palazzo, a bell bottom trouser, any kind of trouser you want to make. And in my next video I would be altering this trouser pattern, and I'll make another kind of trouser with this pattern. So stay tuned and turn on the notification bell. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that, so that you can get more videos from me. And comment, give this video a thumbs up, and share with your fellow soulmates. Thank you so much guys. I hope this video helped you.